That's the one thing about our audience. They always want a new guy to break through the glass ceiling.
All you have to do is just be real.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the jabroni beating, pie eating, trailblazing, eyebrow raising, talking is done, you're out of your class, no sleep till Brooklyn, The Rock whips your ass. Woo!
I wish you and King would quit talking.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 47 for today, Monday, December 14th, 2015. I am your host, Dave Brown. Real quick bit of news about the show. Co-host Jason Blackwood, due to unforeseen changes in work schedule, is having to go on a hiatus for a while. If or when his scheduling does change up again and he can rejoin the show, he is going to. But until then, he is going to be gone for a while, and that sucks. We're going to miss him. So, show's admittedly a lot more fun when I'm talking to someone other than myself. I'm sure, again, we will get Michael from Wrestling Express to be on the show from time to time. Thanks to Michael for joining us last week. I really do appreciate that. This week, well, we're going to talk about TLC and do some predictions for NXT TakeOver London and Ring of Honor's Final Battle, which both happened this week. Last night was the TLC pay-per-view. I actually just watched it this morning. Overall, wasn't bad. Some, stuff happened that I didn't think was going to happen. Mostly Dean Ambrose winning the IC title. But overall, it was a good show. Now, before we get into that, let me just real quick add in a couple cents about that horrendous Raw from last week. So, and I'm not going to go over the whole show, but Raw opened up with League of Nations out, Jabberjaw, blah, blah, blah. And then they were interrupted by the Wyatt family, which was freaking awesome. My first thought was, holy shit, they really are changing something. The Wyatts are going to go after the League of Nations. This is going to be freaking great. And then the Dudleys came out, and then the family came out, and it turned into that 16-man elimination tag team match, which was actually a lot of fun. Ton of fun match. But then we had the final segment, that atrocious Roman Reigns, Sheamus talk fest, and just watching it and what they were making Roman Reigns say, and I hope to God that they have finished that shit, because they're really hurting the character. Now, granted, last night they turned him around, and we'll get to that here in a sec. But that was fucking awful. Raw, the first hour, first half of it was pretty good. The rest, that last part sucked so bad it ruined the entire show. I didn't want to watch wrestling at all for the rest of the week. Hell, last night when TLC was going on for part of it, I was actually watching this last week's Ring of Honor episode, because I was like, well, one, I had stuff I had to do yesterday, my normal wrestling watching day, but other than that, I figured, what? Okay, this is probably going to suck, so why don't I watch something I'm actually going to enjoy, and a product that I really like, which is Ring of Honor. It's a product I do really thoroughly enjoy each and every week. So there's that. But we'll talk more about Ring of Honor here in a little bit. It's probably going to be a pretty short show today. I've getting to the show kind of late this morning, and I got other stuff to do. Plus, my head's killing me. I was sick a lot last week. Y'all don't want to know any of that, so let's get on to it. So TLC opened up. In the pre-show, we had Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. Huge pop for Sasha. It would have been amazingly stupid to not have her on this show, seeing as she's from Boston and all. But then they had Team Bad sing, and that was fucking terrible. And they got boos. The crowd shitted on it, rightfully so. As I was watching it, my just thoughts were, are the writers trying to screw over Sasha Banks? Are they trying to make her look terrible? And then we go into this match, and it's Becky and Sasha, so it's going to be a good match if it's given time, and they were. But right in the middle of it, which is, it's the pre-show, It's their own show. They control it. They, in the middle of the fucking match, they show a commercial for stuff on the WWE Network. Why? What the fuck, man? None of the other matches had to get interrupted because it's a goddamn pay-per-view. Sure, the pre-show is shown on a whole bunch of different platforms, and you got to get this shit in. You very well easily could have done it after the goddamn match. No reason to screw up the match. It was just really fucking terrible. Then, the other thing is, the commentators kept fucking up moves. They would say, well, they did one thing when she actually did something else. And this happened throughout the night. At one point, one of them said that during the Team Extreme Wyatt match, that somebody hit somebody else with a kendo stick, and in reality it was an axe handle. Yes, I know I'm nitpicking here, but Jesus fucking Christ, man. You guys get paid to be observant and call matches. Do your damn job. I guarantee you, those three tool faces get paid more probably in a month, but certainly more in a year than I've ever made in my lifetime. So yeah, Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, first of all, needs to just go fucking away. He needs to retire. He is so cringeworthy to listen to. So fucking awful. Cole and JBL are so much better with Byron Saxton. I'm sorry. I like Byron Saxton. He is a different voice with those two. And I just enjoy listening to people gang up on Byron Saxton. Often it's really stupid. That's why I much prefer him on NXT. But then again, I just much prefer NXT. But yeah, so I digress. Sasha gets the win after there was a distraction from good old Team Bad, and it was a great freaking match. I really enjoyed it. Now, it wasn't like the quality of match that these two had at the TakeOver, however many months ago that was. Or was that even last year? Shit, I can't remember. But when they had that match TakeOver, it wasn't as good as that, but this was a great fucking match. And the one thing I think psychology-wise that they did a good job is, Becky got in tons of offense, the crowd did get behind her, and it kind of made her sympathetic in that, Charlotte, her friend, is turning out to be a crazy backstabbing bitch, which we get to later. Paige already dumped her. Bayley's down in NXT, and Sasha has to use her teammates to help to get the win. So yeah, but it was good. It was one of the best matches of the night, I thought, overall. The official show opened up with the tag team title triple threat ladder match: the New Day versus the Lucha Dragons versus the Usos. New Day opened up with an in-ring promo, which was just freaking great. Xavier Woods was on commentary, and he needs to be on commentary more often because it was fucking awesome. This match, though, was incredible. Crazy shit all over the place. Kalisto probably finally made a name for himself in this match because at one point he is up on he and one of the Usos, I can't remember which one, are on top of a ladder, and there is another ladder bridged between the ladder and on the ropes, and he did a freaking Salida del Sol off of that shit. It was incredible. This match, super amounts of fun. It ended up Xavier got involved, New Day retained the title, which is I think what we all thought it was going to be. Just a fucking fantastic match. Fantastic match. They did throw in a promo for NXT TakeOver London. I was glad to see that. We then had Rusev versus Ryback. This match, it was a match. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. Really, my only thoughts were when Rusev and Lana were coming out to the ring. Lana's hair was so complex, like all of the way it was braided and everything. I just kept looking at it like, God damn, how long did it take to do that hair? She, of course, got involved, feigning getting hurt by the Rusev, or the Ryback, and Rusev got the win. It was what it was. There was a funny part at the end. They're showing Rusev and Lana making out all the time, which is, well, what it is it gives every ugly man hope, is what that does. But they're smooching, and JBL makes a comment about something about that's a sweaty kiss, and he then says, "Okay, guys, go to something else." I loved that. I thought that was pretty funny. We then had Dean Ambrose backstage with Roman Reigns, and for some, Dean just looked like he just didn't care about Roman Reigns. It was pretty funny. Then we had the U.S. title match, Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger in a chairs match. I am very jealous of Jack Swagger's hair. That man has very nice hair. I love his haircut. Just gotta say. And you know what? The crowd did not give two shits about this match. At one point, Swagger went for the Patriot Lock, and he was kind of using a chair, and I was like, how's that going to make it hurt anymore? And then what was funny is after that, Alberto's walking around like his ankle's fine, but then at the end of the match, he's like, oh, he can barely walk, my ankle hurts. I'm like, did you forget to sell at the wrong point? Anyway, Del Rio wins. He ended up doing that double foot stomp thing from the Tree of Woe, but there was a pile of chairs underneath Swagger. Pretty brutal. Not a bad match. Not great. Swagger, I think, is better than the poor guy gets credit for. But it will be interesting. Del Rio will be having a match against Brock Lesnar at a house show in Los Angeles, possibly for the title. So it'll be interesting to see if that ever gets acknowledged on TV. What was next? We then had the Team Extreme doing a backstage interview, and the whole time Rhino was flexing his muscles. It was very weird. That led into the Wyatt family versus Team Extreme, which was the Dudley Boys, Tommy Dreamer, and Rhino match. So here's how the eliminations went. Rowan was eliminated by the Dudleys with a 3D through a table. Rhino was eliminated by Harper, who, I forget how he knocked it. I think he kicked him with a boot into a table. Devon was eliminated by Bray, basically with a rock bottom through a table. Tommy Dreamer was eliminated by Luke Harper. And I can't remember the exact spot. And then Bubba Ray was eliminated by Strowman at the very end via choke slam through a table. Wyatt's won, as they should have. This was a lot of fun, I thought. This was a good, entertaining match, and it was what the Wyatts needed to win. Where do they go from here? Honestly, I hope they go after the League of Nations. We then had the most surprising thing of the night. Kevin Owens versus Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship. Really nice pop for Kevin Owens, who cut a promo on the way to the ring, and he ranted on one of my absolute pet peeves, the we syndrome. Sports fans that talk about their teams that they love and using the word we. We won last night. We had such a great performance. I can't believe we lost. Motherfuckers, you didn't do anything. There is no we. You observed. And Kevin Owens called people out on that. Big smile on my face. I enjoyed that. Big pop for Dean Ambrose. At one point, I think it was Ambrose was going for the pin, and Michael Cole almost said that it was for the U.S. title. Again, man, the commentator's not paying attention to what the fuck is going on, which, in their defense, probably having Vince McMahon screaming in your ear as you're trying to talk makes it hard to concentrate. So, this was the match of the night, easily. It was just a straight match, so it was just a great fucking match, and Dean Ambrose won. Dean Ambrose gets the IC title, and I admit it, I popped. I marked out for that. My hands went straight up in the air. I did a little dance in my chair, because finally fucking Dean Ambrose got something. He got a win, and he needed it. But it did make me sad that we're not going to get, Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for the IC title. I mean, they could still easily build to Owens and Zayn at WrestleMania, which is I think they should, because it's just a story that tells itself. But I was a little disappointed, but I was very happy. The crowd went fucking nuts when Ambrose won. That place just blew the fuck up. It was probably the biggest reaction of the entire night. But this was freaking great. I really enjoyed it. Best match of the night, best overall match. I mean, the tag team match was a better spectacle, but this was a better match. We then had Paige and Charlotte for the Divas title. Paige so they came into the ring and then they did the whole announcement thing with the ladies standing in the ring, which interestingly, they did not do that for the IC title, tag titles, or US title matches, but they did for the Divas and the World Championship match. And Charlotte got pretty shit on by the crowd. Paige got a much better pop. Neither of them were hugely over. But Charlotte is definitely going into the heel territory, which she is so much more comfortable at. At least she comes off as more comfortable. I don't know what she's actually like in her head, obviously, but she comes off as far more comfortable being that arrogant, bitchy, Ric Flair-esque heel. And it works, and she wrestles better. And this was actually the best match I've seen out of Paige in a long time. I think she's finally getting used to wrestling women that actually can wrestle instead of models. Charlotte won via some Flairisms. And, basically, at one point, Paige hit the Rampage and was pinning Charlotte, was going to get the win, but Flair pulled their legs under the ropes. And then Flair had started to unhook one of the turnbuckles. Charlotte then took the padding off of that turnbuckle, and as Paige went to grab her out of the corner, Charlotte pulled her in. Paige landed face first into the exposed buckle. Charlotte got the pin. We then had a backstage segment with, Flair and Charlotte. Flair doing all super happy dancing crap. And they run into Becky Lynch, and Becky was like, yeah, I'm happy you won. I'm just not particularly thrilled the way you did it. And interestingly, when Becky was a heel in NXT, she never really, from what I remember, was a cheater. So I think this still goes to her character. She was just meaner. So as it stands right now, the women's division in WWE has exactly one babyface, and that is Becky Lynch. Think about that for a minute. Because Charlotte needs to be a heel, desperately needs to be a heel. Becky is really good as a face. She really is the Cesaro of the women's division. Hopefully, though, she won't get shafted like Cesaro has so often. So Charlotte's going heel. Paige is still a heel right now. The Bellas are chameleons, but really they're heels. And so at some point they're gonna have to bring up Bayley. You're gonna need to bring up Bayley, Alexa Bliss, and when they bring up Alexa Bliss, they need to bring up Blake and Murphy. Just like when they bring up Cass and Enzo, you bring up Carmella. And so a couple things need to happen. One, they need to bring up some of those ladies. And two, they need to bring up some tag teams from NXT just to flesh out those divisions, because you're looking at them at this point going, oh, okay, well, who do these people fight? And it's getting thin. So we then had the main event, a TLC match, Sheamus versus Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight title. And so Sheamus' music hits. He comes out, and the crowd just doesn't fucking care. At one point, I swear to God, I thought I saw Sam Roberts in the crowd giving big thumbs down to Sheamus. If that is the case, it's pretty damn funny. Reigns came out and didn't get a huge reaction either. It was very strange. There were some weird random chants during this match. At one point there was a "We want Cena sucks" chant. At one point they booed the hell out of Roman Reigns when he did his whole fist cocking thing. I swear there was an NXT chant at one point. There was a pretty brutal spot where there was a ladder laid across from the ring apron to the announce table, and basically it looked like Reigns kind of Samoan dropped, essentially, Sheamus through that ladder. Fuck, I forgot what the thing was called. The ladder snapped. They were both looked like they were dead for a while. The League of Nations came out to give Sheamus the assist. Interestingly, though, it was only Del Rio and Rusev. I was wondering where Wade Barrett was, especially since he did make an appearance during the pre-show. So who knows what happened to Wade in the back. Sheamus got the win, and after the match, Roman Reigns fucking snapped. Rusev and Del Rio have Sheamus up on their shoulders. Reigns gets in the ring, spears the two of them, gets a chair, and just starts to beat the holy piss out of everyone. And then he goes straight to Sheamus, and he just chair shot after chair shot, and he's just beaten the utter fuck out of this guy. Eventually, Triple H and a bunch of refs and Stephanie McMahon come running out, and Triple H keeps telling Roman, calm down, calm down. Roman eventually stops beating on Sheamus. Triple H gets in the ring, it's like, what's wrong with you? What's going on here? And then Roman Reigns beats the holy fuck out of Triple H. And I gotta admit, it was awesome. I mean, he was just unhinged. He was pissed. He was the Roman Reigns of the Shield days. And he decimated Triple H at one point. I mean, they just chair shot after chair shot. He got him out of the ring, powerbombed him into the Spanish announce table. Really awkward way he picked him up. It was very strange. And then but the Spanish table didn't fall apart, which I think it was supposed to, but it didn't. So he then gets up on the English announce table, stands there, runs and does an elbow drop onto Triple H through the table. Stephanie is freaking out. Triple H is just dead to the world. Roman goes to leave. He's like, well, I'm fired anyway. And this whole, I don't care, I'm just going to fuck everyone up attitude was great. So eventually a bunch of people help up Triple H, and they're carrying him out. Roman Reigns turns around, runs back, spears the hell out of Triple H on the mat, on the floor. And I don't think he hit him with anything else after that. But that was great. And that was the way we need to see Roman Reigns. We don't need him to be written as John Cena 2.0. That was made glaringly obvious after this last Raw. This is the way they need to book this guy. Stop doing one-size-fits-all booking. Let's just book each person to their strengths. These are all individuals. Let's treat them as such, And that's how it went off the air, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. The match was, admittedly, I didn't care for most of the match. I really didn't. The idea of Samoan Cena winning the title was blah. The idea of Sheamus keeping the title was blah. I just didn't give a fuck. Roman Reigns pistol whipping the hell out of Triple H, that I enjoyed. I did. And the crowd got so behind him. Now the big question is, how bad will they fuck it up tonight on Raw? That is the big question. And if history shows, they're going to fuck it up real good. Hopefully they don't. Right after TLC was a Stone Cold podcast with Shawn Michaels, which was not live. It was pre-recorded. It wasn't bad. It was there. It was nowhere near one of the better Stone Cold podcasts. I think they've pre-recorded another one with Ric Flair. They're down in Texas. I prefer them live, but that was that. So overall, I thought TLC was a lot better than it was going to be. I went in with zero expectations. The Becky-Sasha match was a lot of fun. The triple threat tag team match was fantastic. The Owens Ambrose match was fantastic. The tables match was fun, and the main event was fun, and the actual match itself was pretty good. It was sad because they've done such a piss poor job booking those jabronis that I had a hard time caring. But man, by the end of it, I was enjoying it. So overall, not bad. I'd say C+, B -E. So yeah, it's a better end to the year than I thought we were going to have. So we'll see what happens. So let's move on to NXT. So this week on Breaking Ground, show started off with Cal Bishop getting fired and not shaking the dude's hand that comes down to do the firing. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. There was a lot of focus on Carmella and Bayley. They're apparently best friends. Also, Carmella is dating Big Cass. I didn't know that. They talked a lot about the trips to Louisville and Nashville. That was pretty interesting. They also showed the part where Eva gave Carmella a concussion with a brutal kick to the head. It was just... Eva Marie needs to go the fuck away. They toured an old sanitarium that apparently is haunted. Also, they had some clips of this dude, Love Preet, who's from Punjab, India. He's probably going to be pretty good. And a lot of focus again on Baron Corbin. So the thing I think with Baron Corbin is they need to figure out a way to transition his personality, the way he's being portrayed on Breaking Ground, into his promos. Because the one thing he still is not great at is promos. He's gotten a lot better, and he's gotten so much better in the ring. I think, really, he's the most improved wrestler of the year. But if they could figure out a way to capture his personality on Breaking Ground and transition that into NXT, he would get over a lot more. NXT opened up with Enzo Amore and Colin Cassady in a match against Corey Hollis and John Skyler. Enzo, Cass, and Carmella came out, did not do the normal my name is Enzo Amore thing. They just walked out pissed. They fucked this team up. And they then did a promo afterwards, and they were super intense, and it was great. It was just freaking awesome. It was nice to see them in that way. We then had Emma and Dana Brooke doing a backstage interview. This was really good in that Dana is just fantastic in interviews. Those two girls, please stop tanning. You're going to look so terrible here in a couple years. Just stop. The best part, though, was how Dana wanted to do her pat on the head of Tom Phillips, and Tom Phillips is so tall, and she kept trying to scrunch him down with his shoulder. At one point she goes, "God, you're tall." Hilarious. We then had Ty Dillinger vignette, and then Asuka against Deonna Purrazzo. Dana Brooke and Emma came out on the stage partway through the match, trying to distract Asuka. Asuka then turned around and gave a swift roundhouse kick to the head of Deonna Purrazzo, which the ref stopped the match because she knocked the bitch out. And at that point, Emma and Dana looked scared, and Dana had this, she put her hand up to her face oh my god. It was great. Asuka is fantastic, and she is just destroying everybody, and it's great. The Hype Bros had a backstage promo, which was cringeworthy. Alexa Bliss and Blake Murphy then had a backstage promo. They were all dressed like Freddy Krueger, and Alexa is so good at being the bitchy heel. So good. We then got an Elias Sampson vignette, which is gross. Hype Bros versus Blake and Murphy with Alexa Bliss. Hype Bros got the win. it was a match. Then let's see, Samoa Joe and Baron Corbin had a backstage promo. Again, Corbin is a natural heel. He's got to learn how to project that. Bayley had a match with Peyton Royce. They're tweaking Peyton Royce's character, making her come off as, I don't know if skankier is the right word, more seductive, I think. And I think that's going to work for her. It's going to be a nice fit. Peyton Royce is really going to be, her, Billie Kay, a bunch of these new girls, but I think Peyton Royce is going to be one of the first ones we're going to see really break out. Her and Billie Kay. But Bayley did get the win. It was a good match, good showing by Peyton. Nia Jax and Eva Marie come out, and Eva Marie gets just demolished in boos. Nia Jax pulls the mic out of her hand, says, I don't need you to talk for me. Cuts a promo on Bayley. Not bad. Finn Balor and Apollo Crews were backstage. Apparently Apollo was trying to get in touch with Finn all week. Finn would return to it was weird. Then there was a Sami Zayn vignette highlighting his match with John Cena. Very much looking forward to seeing Sami Zayn back. And then we had Apollo Crews and Finn Balor against Baron Corbin and Samoa Joe in the main event. This was a good match. It was still not great, but pretty good. I think you could get a lot more out of all four of these guys. Joe and Corbin get the win by submission. Joe basically choked out Finn Balor. And coming this Wednesday, NXT TakeOver London is going to happen, and let's go through the matches and do some predictions here. So we're going to have Asuka versus Emma, and really I think what's going to happen with this, I think Emma's going to get the win, but Dana Brooke is going to have to help. There's going to be some serious shenanigans and cheating, because the thing, you don't want to make Asuka seem unbeatable in that way. That's all that is important, is that she has this unbeaten streak. This needs to be a really competitive match, very back and forward. Emma needs to give Asuka a run for her money, but I would say have Dana Brooke help Emma get the win, and then Asuka go after them in the future. Apollo Crews versus Baron Corbin. Actually, I think Baron Corbin's going to win this. I think he's going to be the first person to give Crews a loss. And the same thing with Crews, like Asuka, needs to not be about an undefeated streak. The Tag Team Championship, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson defending against Enzo Amore and Colin Cassady. I think Enzo and Cass are going to win this one. It's one of two things is happening. Either Enzo and Cass win this, and they get a run at the tag team title, or tag team champions, or they get called up to the main roster. One of those two things has to happen. I hate for Dash and Dawson to kind of lose the title so quickly, but I think they could be the first maybe two-time tag team champions. If Enzo and Cass don't win, they're probably never going to win these titles, and they need to go up to the main roster. Just maybe the night after Royal Rumble. Done. Bayley versus Nia Jax for the women's title. I think Bayley's going to retain. How that's going to go down, I don't know, but Nia Jax is just way too green to be the women's champion at this point. And then Finn Balor against Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship, and I think Samoa Joe's going to take this one. Maybe Finn Balor then can head up to the main roster at Royal Rumble. Who knows? But Samoa Joe is just on fire right now. He's not going to go up to the main roster, so let's put the belt on him. Give him a good 6-9 month run with it. Maybe set up a program with Hideo Itami where Itami eventually beats him. And yeah, that's how I would do it. And Ring of Honor. So let's get into Ring of Honor this week, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here. Real quick, though, before we get into Ring of Honor, the program, God, man, my brain just stopped working. Ring of Honor news, they have signed a deal with PWG, and Ring of Honor will allow select Ring of Honor exclusive stars to perform in PWG. And this has already paid off because this last weekend, Adam Cole Bebe appeared at a PWG event. It was either on Friday or Saturday. And he ended up teaming with the Young Bucks and Roderick Strong in a group called Mount Rushmore. PWG is an organization I really wish I could watch more. I really wish they had TV, because everything I've seen of their stuff, just little clips here and there, has been fantastic. And I sadly don't have the money to buy the DVDs or to get the pay-per-views. I just don't, man. I don't know how I'm going to pay for Christmas. That's a whole other story. So yeah, I would love to see more PWG. But I think this is a good thing. I don't know if it's quite the same type of deal that Ring of Honor has with New Japan, but it sounds like it's pretty similar. So I think that's fantastic. One other bit of news: it has been officially announced that Rey Mysterio will be heading to Lucha Underground for Season 2. There's a picture out there of Rey in front of the Lucha Underground billboard thing. So, all right, good for Rey. He picked Lucha Underground over WWE, and I think that's probably a wise decision. So Ring of Honor this week, the show opened up with Silas Young and the Beer City Bruiser with the boys against reDRagon. Adam Cole came out onto commentary. reDRagon got the win. Great fucking match. After the match, so basically Kyle O'Reilly gets into Adam Cole's face. reDRagon leave jaw-jacking with Adam Cole. Dalton Castle comes out, says he wants his boys back. The boys hop up on the ring apron, look like they're going to go with Dalton Castle, but decide, no, we're going to stay with Silas Young. Now, one thing that Nigel McGuinness had said, I think it was last week during Dalton Castle's match against Adam Cole, was that wins and losses matter in Ring of Honor and stipulations matter. So, yay for Ring of Honor for actually making their stipulations matter. But yeah, that was a fantastic match. A lot of fun. Chris Sabin came out and then did an in-ring promo. He called out the person who's been wearing the KRD mask, who's coming out and using his moves. The person in the mask comes out unmasked, and it is Alex Shelley, who used to be tag team partners with Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin looks super shocked, gets out of the ring looking freaked. And that was that. Who knows where that's going to go. Some huge MFer named Samson Walker had a shot at the TV title against Roderick Strong. Bobby Fish came out on commentary. They're doing this whole Roddy versus the world gimmick thing with Roderick Strong. He's just going to... It sounds almost like his version of the U.S. Open Challenge, which is great. I think that's going to be fantastic. Bobby Fish on commentary basically kept saying that, look, the TV title for Roderick was basically a consolation prize since he could never get the job done beating Jay Lethal for the world title. After the match, Roddy wins, obviously. After the match, Bobby Fish got in the ring he had the TV title on around his waist, jaw-jacking. That was pretty much it. The two of them are going to have a match at Final Battle, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Inside ROH segment with Mandy Leon was a review of the Survival of the Fittest tournament. And then the main event was the Young Bucks against the Briscoes. Kenny King of the All Night Express is on commentary, and Rhett Titus was just kind of standing there. And this match was fucking awesome. Up until that Ambrose Owens match at TLC, this was, I thought, easily the match of the week. Ambrose Owens might be tied. The Young Bucks got the win. Way too much back and forth to even try to describe. All Night Express get in the ring after the match. Ends up being a big three-way brawl. That's how you do a wrestling show, man. Ring of Honor, again, fucking great. And let's do predictions for Final Battle this coming Friday, December 18th. Final Battle will be on pay-per-view, same day as Star Wars Force Awakens opening, which I really wish I had the money to go see, but I don't. Sad panda. Anyway, alright, so the pre-show will have Cheeseburger against Bob Evans. And that one's actually going to be on YouTube. I think Cheeseburger's going to win. Though I don't give any fucks. Dalton Castle will have a match against Silas Young. This could really go either way. I suspect Dalton Castle's going to get the win, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a great match, though. Alex Shelley with Matt Sydal and ACH are going to go against The Addiction and Chris Sabin. I think Alex Shelley, Sydal, and ACH are going to get the win. That should be a great fucking match. Should be a great match. The Briscoes will have a match. Will face the Young Bucks and the All Night Express in a triple threat. And if I'm not mistaken, the winner will be the number one contenders for the tag team titles. I think the All Night Express are going to win this one. That should be amazing. Moose against Michael Elgin. I think Michael Elgin's going to win that. It's going to be a great freaking match. Michael Elgin does have a shot at Jay Lethal's world title at Wrestle Kingdom in Japan. So that's going to be something cool to look forward to. Roderick Strong will defend the TV title against Bobby Fish. I think Roderick Strong's going to get the win. I think they're going to hold that title on him for a while. And I think that's a good idea. The whole Roddy versus the World, I think that's a great thing. Tag team title match, The Kingdom versus War Machine. I think that The Kingdom's going to win that one. And I skipped a match. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly in a fight without honor. I think this one's going to Adam Cole. And I do have a slight theory that Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish might be done with ROH. Their contract negotiations apparently have not been going too well. And they, granted, they are the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Champions. So those belts will need to get off before they can go to NXT. But I would not be surprised if those guys were NXT bound. And then the main event, Jay Lethal defending the Ring of Honor World title against AJ Styles. I think Jay Lethal's going to retain. That's going to be a great fucking match, though, I suspect. And that is Final Battle. I mean, just on the looks of it, that is something I'm really looking forward to. That looks like it's going to be a fantastic card. And that's going to do it for this week. Short and sweet, if I believe. I don't even know how long I've been yapping. Oh, only about 40 some odd minutes. Good. It's time to get out of here. So thanks again for listening in. You can follow us on the various social medias. The handle to look for is Around the Ring OK. You can send us an email, aroundtheringok@gmail.com. And you can find the show on great places like iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, all those good stuff. Make sure to check out our good friends over at WrestlingExpress.net. They do lots of good stuff over there on that page, so give them a view, read some of their things, and we're out of here. We'll be back next week, and hope everyone has a great week, and just like Jerry Springer always says, take care of yourselves and each other.
You've been listening to Around the Ring on the Spark Radio Network.
All you have to do is change your point of view and believe.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Damn! Woo!
That sucks more than anything that I've ever sucked before.
What? It's for charity.